the President of the Republic of Ghana, I would like to send a strong message of solidarity. The people of Asantehemaa are together with the people of Ghana in this difficult moment. And I also send all the condolences in the name of my people to families, friends, colleagues of work, to all those who lost their lives in this mission.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, President.
We've just heard from the president of Sao Tome. We can now turn attention to breaking news we've been tracking in the last hour here at TV3. The Asantehemaa, Nana Ama Konadu Yiadom III, has died. She was on the throne for 8 years, died at the ripe age of 98. Very devastating news for the people of the Ashanti Kingdom and by extension, the entire country. And what you see on your screen at the moment are some pictures from that council meeting where the Otumfuo said to the second, the Asantehemaa made the formal announcement to the leadership of the Asante Kingdom. In a tad, we'll learn a bit more about the Asantehemaa, but I want to, bring in now our Ashanti region correspondent who has been witnessing the council meeting. He covered the council meeting, the formal announcement, the events that took place after that. And Evan Sinkum is now joining us from the Ashanti region to help us understand what has happened in the last hour or so. Evans, talk to us about this council meeting that was held in the last hour.
Well, so the Centennial Otumfuo, as tradition demands, was supposed to break the news to his over 30 paramount chiefs across 6 regions as far as Ghana is concerned. So we're talking about the Ashanti region, the Bono East, a part of Iti region, and of course the Ahafo regions. So, I mean, most of them came and converged at the Menchia Palace, where, I mean, in local parlance, we call the Fikasiem, where he broke the news to them. It was quite brief. The moment he starts, he called some of the Kumasi chiefs to come and brief him what, they have. He was away for some time, so all that had happened whilst he was away. It was there that he was briefed about the unfortunate demise of 8 of our heroes. I'm talking about the helicopter crash that happened sometime last week. He was briefed by the chief of Adanse. That was it. So right after that, he also told them what has happened. Of course, the demise or the passing on of the Asantehemaa Nana Ama maybe being said. That was the time the people also get the news. Right after that, he moved straight to the palace of the Asantehemaa to commiserate with the family there, and of course, the other sub-chiefs who also served under the Asantehemaa.
I see, Evans. I can imagine that the people of the Asante Kingdom are devastated by the passing of the Queen Mother. Talk to us about the mood in the Ashanti region right now.
Well, somber. The entire place is very, very calm. And for people just want to empathize with him because he's lost the mother. That was in 2016, and now his only surviving sister, Nana Ama Konadu in private life, now Nana Ama Konadu Yiadom, the third. also, passing on. It's something that you consider a hard pill for Santehene. And of course, you can even read from his facial expression when he was making it public for the very first time. She died on Thursday, but as tradition demands, it has to go through a certain level of ritual before the public will have that information, exactly what we witnessed not too long ago. So it was a sad moment, and it continued to be sad. As far as Menchia Palace is concerned, many have been sharing their fond memories of the late Queen Mother, affable, first time. She's also Otunfo's chief advisor. Anytime there is a matter that probably reaches a cliffhanger, you normally hear in that local palace that you want to go and consult the old lady. The old lady here is the Queen Mother. She has been the backbone of Santehene. And as far as traditional function is concerned, she's also the one who nominates the Santehene, all right, before the council will accept, and of course, the other rituals follow before Santehene can be confirmed. So it is a big blow to the Asante Kingdom, and people have been mourning.
Absolutely, I can imagine, the level of devastation it is for the residents in the Ashanti region. But Evans, you put together an obituary for Nana Ama Konadu Yiadom III, and telling her life story in that obituary. Talk to us about it just before we see it.
All right, so right from the days when she was, her name was mentioned by Otunfo, that was sometime in February 2017. How the news was, how the elders in Menchia Palace broke the news to her, how she received the news, her facial expression, and all of that, what she lived for. These are some of the things that you will find in that 4-minute 50-second documentary.
From birth, she was prepared to take the highest throne of queens on the land of warriors. Asante Kotoko, Kumapema Apembeba. Na Penin, meaning the elders, took over as the Asantehemaa, the Queen Mother of the Asantes, after her mother, Her Royal Majesty Nana Efia Kubisewa Ampimintin. After all the necessary rituals have been performed, she was named by her brother, the King, Otumfuo Seitutu II. A dawn of a new era. Santaman has a new queen. The chief advisor to the king, the Santehene. All hail the queen, Na Kwedu Yiadom III, the 14th queen mother of the Asantes. She never had a formal education. She was raised in a traditional setting. At lactation, she was separated from her mother and raised by her auntie. In 1927, she was born here, the Benyade Shrine at Kwadaso. Those were the days of the restoration of the Sante Confederacy. Now Konedu Yiadom III is described as religious, kind-hearted, calm, fair, and firm, hardworking, very humble, unassuming, and accommodating. In the mid-1990s, Kwaku Fri Bosomfo, the priest of Kwaku Fri, prophesied through Bafo Akuto, a senior linguist of Asantehemaa, that Asantehemaa will be queen of Asante someday, and surely it came to pass. A champion of breastfeeding, she has also dedicated most of her public life to maternal health. She has made several donations to the mother and baby unit of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital and other health facilities. Asantehemaa, even as she transitioned to her ancestors at age 98, has left an indelible footprint in the development and growth of Santaman. Generations will forever remember a great queen mother. Whose wise counsel has helped shape many great leaders of our time. Your Royal Majesty, Asantehemaa, Na Kwedu Yiadom III, Nantiye, Asantehemaa, Wadaroma, Eya Kai Santaman. Always remember Santaman.
You're still here with us on TV3 as we cover breaking news in the last hour. The announcement of the demise of Nana Ama Konedu Yiadom III, Asantehemaa, who has been on the throne the last 8 years. She was 98. Now, a few things you should remember from that obituary put together by Evans Inkum. Nana Ama Konedu Yiadom III was also known by other names such as Nana Penyi or Na Penyi. She was installed Nana Konedu Yiadom III, February 6, 2016, as the 14th Asantehemaa. In terms of her family background, she is the daughter of Nanefia Kobisewa Ampem II, who was Asantehemaa from 1977 to 2016 when she took over. You get what that looks like. She's also the daughter of Openyin Kofi Fofie, Openyin Kofi Fofie, so to speak. And then also in her early life, she was separated from her biological mother at age 1 and raised by her aunt, Nanefia Konedu, in Ashanti Newtown. In terms of her education, she had no formal education but received rigorous informal training, royal training, if you'd like. She's known to be a religious, kind-hearted, calm, fair, firm, hardworking, humble, and unassuming yet accommodating person. In her personal life, to do with marriage, she was married to Openyin Kwame Boateng, underwent puberty rise with her niece, Nanabna Ansa, in her teens. And then the final one you should know, in the mid-1990s, priest Kweku Fri Bosomfo prophesied she would become Asantehemaa, relayed by linguist Bafo Akutu. Nana Konedu Saviour School was named in her honor by the Saviour Church for her charitable works, known for equity, justice, and fair dispute resolution. Some of these we will be going through at this point. I want to invite into our conversation around this breaking news we've been following the last hour. Kweku Dako Ankara, who is a historian. We still have with us Evans Inkum, Ashanti region correspondent. Kweku, I do appreciate your time with us this afternoon. We've just heard the formal announcement of the passing of Nana Ama Konedu Yiadom III, and help us understand really what is the role of the Queen Mother as far as the Ashanti Kingdom is concerned? Well, my understanding is that he's not available at the moment. I'll move on to Evans. Now, Evans, you spoke earlier about some of the charitable works Asantehemaa did. Obviously, this would impact a lot of lives, but how big of a loss would you say this is to the Ashanti Kingdom?
Well, some are also talking about the duration on the stool, how long she lived on the stool, looking at the fact that she contributed immensely to the development and growth of the Asante Kingdom. I've already mentioned that she serves as the chief advisor to the Asantehemaa. So now that she's not there, what happens to the Asantehemaa? Well, a multi-dollar question. You lost the mother, you also lost the only surviving sister. Now, in terms of how long she's lived, if you trace history, it looks like she's not the only queen mother in the 19th century who has served for that period, 8 years, because the seventh queen mother, Nana Amadisi, also served 8 years on the stool between 1828 to 1836. So she and Nana Amadisi are the only queen mothers who did not live long as far as serving as queen mother for the Asante Kingdom is concerned. So it is something that, I mean, people have also been talking about. But hey, I mean, many are not surprised because somebody, I mean, from 1927 to 2025, some believe that, well, she's also lived long, only that she's going to be missed for, I mean, her good or, I mean, her kind heart.
Indeed. And Evans, you have
made a lot of contribution.
Absolutely. You've spoken to a couple of people at that announcement ceremony earlier. I want us to take a listen to them, then we can digest how things are likely to move forward in terms of the final funeral rites. Let's take a listen.
Two for him, enemy. And Asantehemaa, the Widia Kunya, in idea near Hunu, Sebi, some podia, some Asantehemaa, no one in Ananum. Any odwa wada na didi akire ye sebien ahenkwafo nyina ye ma me kese pa eno no ese ye do no cause o kan nyina ye bata no hote se sebi ne funu mba enti ono de Asantehemaa ahenkwafo ne mabunu ne mrante ne maba wade ya hwera de kese pa fise ye ma me kese pa no wura fie ho ase do besi ahoahoa kura na okura kese.
The queen is always the mother of the king, and also a direct sister. Okay, so since he's lost a sister, he's of course lost big, and if you lose big, it is a sad incident.
Asantehemaa de sene ukọ ahemfie ohema ho on se so study a Asantehemaa mu edwa nyinaa ye Nanahemaa dia na ukọ no ne sene edwamfo ohema ene ma na omudidi dwa no ne omusi wo nsawoso ene na chese ohema ye obi a ono obi a ye free ukọ ohema wo na oni bonanim na achia ne wi a ade ode ma wa ne nkranhye ya wa utimi se ya hwrade.
And Evans, that is the big loss you were describing earlier. The gentleman who just spoke puts all that into context, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you also know that, I mean, in clandestine, let me put it that way, she's also contributed to the peace and stability of this particular country. Because aside we seeing some politician or no politician meet Asantehemaa, anytime they are in the Menchika Palace, and of course, she also happens to be there. They also take a time to visit her, and she also gives them some level of advice, especially one that has to do with maintaining the peace and tranquility of this particular country and all of that. So by and large, you also say that she also contributed to the peace, stability, and tranquility we enjoy as a country.
I see. Evans, I'll hear from you briefly, because obviously the demise of the Asantehemaa kickstarts a lot of customary rites, traditional, events to take place. We understand what was announced earlier today, but let me move over to historian Kweku Dako Ankara to share a bit more of how this sits in history and what this means for the Ashanti Kingdom. Kweku, how does the death of Asantehemaa hit you?
Yeah, so as you know, chieftaincy in our Akan society in general is anchored on the matrilineal, that's matrilineal inheritance. So therefore, the very foundation of the social organization and the political organization of the people is as a result of the role of the woman. And as we know, if you look at Ashanti's history, they were first led by a woman, and out of that woman, Anchwanyamin's children, came the male children who later became the Oyoko family that formed the Asante Kingdom. So as a result of that, in Asante society, it is often argued that Oba no Ubema, Oba su no Uhene. So it is a woman that gives birth to a man, and it is a woman that gives birth to a king. This shows that the role of the woman in the Akan society or in the Ashanti Kingdom is quite preeminent, in that without the female or the queen mother, there will be no king. Indeed, if things were to go in, we have to go back to history as Buzia and Rattray established. Mostly kings hold their position as a result of their mothers. So by inference, we try to say that a man is a king because as a privy to the role of his mother. And that is why a queen mother in a certain society has often been argued by some historians as his role being equal in authority to that of the king. So the loss of the queen mother is a serious blow to the kingdom, because if there is any issue of a king misbehaving and there is the need to even overthrow or destroy the king, the woman who's supposed to perform that function in this time being is not available. Which brings a serious sort of lacuna in the political system of the Ashantis.
That's very insightful, Kweku. But then, what you have just narrated to us also seems to create a vacuum as far as power is concerned. But there is also no rush for replacement at this point. A little too soon to even talk about it, right?
Yes, because there is ritual performances ought to be done. This is bordering on the rite of passage. Someone has died. There is a lay-down procedures and ritual performances that ought to be done during this period to ensure that the old lady will be given a befitting burial to visit the ancestors. In Twi we say Okoekura. So for her to go to Ekura to become an ancestor, there is no need to rush. The Asante tradition has its own laid down procedures upon which they will also enact the ritual performances leading to her burial. So it is not a Russian thing. They have to follow procedures, and this will be followed to the latter.
I see. And so talk to us, really. How does the process today compare with history? Particularly, Evans announced that she had passed away on Thursday. The announcement was done on Monday to the Traditional Council. How does this compare with historical antecedents?
Yeah, so nowadays things have been quiet because of the modernity. Certain ritual performances like Rempe in those days, when such a death occurs, you will see that in Kumasi back in the day, nobody will sort of even cook, so nobody will sort of even go to market and so on. And when you are caught doing that, and certain sanctions will come upon you. Nowadays, because of the modern society and the convergence of the traditional society, certain traditional performances and functions we are not able to uphold them. So there has become a need to ensure that there is certain collaboration between the state and the traditional authorities. So you will see some of the traditional performances which were elaborate in function back in the day. If you read some of the historical accounts, in terms of the days of mourning, it can go even as to 30 days, a month and over, because of the role of the woman in the Akan society and in Ashanti culture. But I don't think this is what is going to happen. But they are still maintaining the culture in the way they do their things, trust them to do the right thing. But what we will not see as opposed to what we see because of some of the lash back that came as a result of the former one, no one knows if they are going to extend the idea of REMP, where there will be some curfew ensuring that people do not open the central business markets are not open for operation on that day. We are yet to see how the new course of action that the traditional authorities are going to take.
I see. So, Kweku, temporarily, what happens to that power vacuum as a result of the demise of Asantehemaa?
So, at the moment, since there is no other person, the king will continue to function in his capacity as it's supposed to be. Because with the hindsight that after some time, a new queen mother will be nominated and then finally elected or installed as a queen mother. So for the time being, there's a temporary lacuna of power within the Ashanti political administration with regards to the rule of the queen mother.
I see. Kweku, hang in there for me. I want to move on over to Ashanti region correspondent. Evans, at this official announcement of the demise of Nana Yedom III, what was said about what processes will take place going forward?
All right, so next week, Thursday, the one-week celebration will be held at the Bojawe, just for the forecourse of the National Palace, where Otimfo sat with his paramount chief today. And that is when all the other details in respect of the Dotiye, which is a special burial rite, the date for that particular special burial rite will be announced, and then we'll take it from there. I mean, all other traditional sanctions being made, all funeral being put on hold. I'm talking about public funeral being put on hold and all of that will also be announced by Saturday.
I see. And Kweku, that brings me to you. What are we to expect in these arrangements that Evans has just shared with us?
Yeah, so four of these arrangements are to ensure the continuance of the Asante cultural inheritance that we have laid down over the years. And so, if some of these functions are not performed, it will also trigger certain action from other quarters, because this is something that has been laid down over the years to ensure not only the cultural effectiveness of the administration of the foreign monarchy, but also it is in tandem with the way our accounts we give sort of respect to our elderly, because funeral in our account society is not only for the living or the dead alone. It is two-way thing. The way we see our ancestors going to the other side of the world, as I have said elsewhere, in our account society, when someone dies, the death does not end. We believe in reincarnation, and that a person who is born of nobility will be passing to another world, where he will continue her role in that capacity. As a result, all the functions and the performances that is worth her appeal ought to be given to her to proceed to the other side, because if it is not done, we believe that the ancestor will have a distributive effect on the people who are living, and as a result, everything ought to be done to the latter.
I see. Kweku, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. If you just joined us, we are covering breaking news in the last hour. The Asantehemaa Nana Ama Konadu Iyadom III has passed. The Asantehene Tumfose to the second has officially made the announcement to his council, which kickstarts a lot of customary and traditional rites going forward. We've just been understanding the scope of those rites that could happen over the next few days, maybe even weeks. Our Ashanti region correspondent, Evans Inkum, who sat through that council meeting, has also been sharing with us the mood in the Ashanti region. And Evans, as we begin to wrap up on this coverage, briefly talk to us. The Ashanti Kingdom itself needs to be ready for the customary rites that will happen in the next few days, starting with the 1-week ceremony. How are people responding? How are people getting ready? This is big for the people of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Well, absolutely. So some people have already taken preemptive measures in the area of burying their relatives even before the ban on funeral and other things in a place. That is after Thursday. So, for instance, yesterday there were a lot of burial service across the Ashanti region. You know, now because of technology, people got a wind of the demise or the passing of the Asantehemaa, and they knew what is going to happen. So that processes, most of them have been able to go through that particular processes. And of course, there's going to be a mad rush for those who still have, their relatives still in, let me put it, this informal stage, maybe preparing to bury them and all of that. Maybe they would want to do that early enough to avoid a prolonged stay. That also comes with some level of cost. So that is what we are going to see, at least from now till the coming weekend. Because Thursday, there's likely to be a ban on all such activities until the Dosibri, which will, of course, mark the burial of Asantehemaa, is done. We still do not know the date yet. As I said, on Thursday, we're certainly going to know the date. Of course, yes, we are going to see flats of tributes pouring for Asantehemaa. We're also going to see dignitaries also passing through. So it's going to be a busy week in the Ashanti region.
Evans, I appreciate your time with us. Thank you so much. Evans Inkum is Ashanti region correspondent, just giving us the very latest on the passing of Asantehemaa, the 98-year-old Nana Ama Konadu Iyadom III. We've also got some breaking news coming in. Well, just in, the NPP has withdrawn from the upcoming Tamale Central by-election following the death of the sitting Member of Parliament, Dr. Murtala Mohammed of the NDC. And that's the statement that has just come from the NPP. They will not be taking part in the Tamale Central by-election that has come as a result of the passing of the Member of Parliament for the area in that helicopter crash, Dr. Murtala Mohammed of the NDC. I want to share with you bits and pieces of what we are hearing from that statement. Very important that we take a look at exactly why the NPP is making that statement. Remember also that Tamale Central by-election is not the only one. The Akwatia by-election is also in the rear. And so we are looking forward to 2 by-elections. Now the NPP says, look, in Tamale Central, we will not be taking part in that by-election. And in the statement, it says the decision was taken by the party at a National Steering Committee meeting held on Monday, August 11, 2025. If you haven't noticed yet, that is today at the party headquarters, pursuant to Article 10.10.1 of the party constitution. In arriving at the decision, the party considered many factors, including the circumstances under which the Tamale Central seat has become vacant and the possibility of a further polarization of the country at this critical time. The NPP is of the belief that it would be inhumane and unconscionable to subject the nation to a competitive process in search of a replacement for the departed MP. The party believes that the tension and acrimony often associated with the conduct of by-elections in the country should be avoided. It is the considered view of the party that the greatest tribute that the NPP and the rest of the nation can pay in honor of the departed is not only to win the fight against Galamsey, but also to ensure a smooth and peaceful replacement for the good people of Tamale Central. Now, it ends by saying, consequently, the NPP hereby announces that when the Electoral Commission of Ghana opens nominations for the Tamale Central by-election in line with Article 1125 of the Ghanaian Constitution, the party will, in accord with the national interest, not take part in the contest. That's breaking news coming in this very moment. The NPP will not take part in the Tamale Central by-election, a by-election that has come about as a result of the demise of the incumbent MP, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, who died in that helicopter crash last Wednesday. Now, I was telling you earlier that we are facing two by-elections, right? One in Akwetia, which is also coming about as a result of the death of the incumbent Ernest Kumi. And that seat was held or is held by the NPP. We also see in the case of Tamale Central also held by the NDC. The NPP on one hand is saying, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We don't think that the way and manner in which by-elections are held in the country will be of any good to us to contest in the Tamale Central, again, given the backdrop of how Dr. Murtala Mohammed exited the physical world as we know it. But let's have a quick chat on the back of this. Dr. Joshua Zato is a political analyst, and he will share his thoughts with us. Doc, I appreciate you joining us this afternoon on this breaking news coverage. But what do you think about this move? Dr. Zato, I'll try again. I'm asking what you think about this move by the NPP.
Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. If you look at the circumstances under which the Honorable Minister died, and if you look at the great outpouring of grief that the whole country is pouring, it is a bipartisan grief. Everybody in the country is mourning these gallant men and women who died in the line of saving their country. These men and women who have paid the ultimate price in the service of their nation. So the question that everybody should then ask ourselves is, what can I do to honor their memory? What can I do in my own small way, my own medium way, to honor their memories? What can I do to make sure that their death was not in vain? And I think as a political party, deciding not to participate in an election is probably the biggest sacrifice you can make in a political party. Deciding to participate in any election is the biggest sacrifice you can make. And I think that the MPP has decided that by not contesting in this by-election, it is the biggest honor they can do to the memory of the late Honorable Murtala.
I see. Should this be one the NDC reciprocates in the case of Akwetia as well?
But that is up to the NDC to decide. Remember, when it comes to decision making, individuals and for our matter institutions make their own decisions based on their own circumstances. And that is why you've seen that in the statement that the MPP has issued, there's no call for a reciprocal and a quid pro quo. No. They are simply saying that we want to honor this man, we want to honor these gallant men, and we think that this is the best way to honor them, and they are going to go ahead to honor them. Whatever anybody else to do is independent of their decision. They say we ought to like that. And I think that is how it is when we come together as a country to do things selflessly, to give ourselves up, and to make decisions without expecting reciprocity. That is when we demonstrate our patriotism and our love of nation. And that is what the NPP is trying to demonstrate.
I guess then it would be wrong to interpret this as trying to force the NDC's hand to let go Akwetia.
No, I would not do that, and I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that as a country, there's something that NDC said in that statement, the last part, that it is honor, a time for us to win the Galamsey fight. So for me, the biggest honor the government can do for these gallant heroes is to win the Galamsey fight. It's to show that we don't do it. Remember, in public policy, there are things we call policy windows. Some of them are scheduled, some of them can come as a result of such emergencies. This can be the moment where the government says, you know what, enough of the bloodshed, enough of the killing. Let's end it now before it ends all right. For me in particular, if the government does that and takes the fight straight to the volunteers, and that's the difficult thing that I expected, that would be a bigger honor to their memory than anything they decided else to do.
I see. What do you say to those who would retort and say, well, the NPP couldn't have won Tamale Central anyway?
You don't see when you contest an election. Sometimes it's not just about winning. You can win. Without actually winning the fight. For instance, you sometimes contest an election to test your strategies. You can sometimes win an election to test your playbook. So going to Tamale Central to contest was always there. And yet, listen, by-elections have produced surprising results in this time. So you know that I know that. By-elections are something that people that we thought couldn't have won. It has happened in this country before. Because historically, by-elections have low turnout, and in some parts mostly, the incumbents tend to be punished during by-elections. But nevertheless, even if it is that aspect as me, the NPP has made a choice that they won't even go there to contest. And so I see, when you begin to trivialize such decisions, that is when consensus in the country becomes difficult. When somebody makes a decision and if you trivialize it, if you just say, oh, they think the NDC is going, yes, they could solve the government. Look at what happened at the Tamale Central. Nobody enjoyed the victory. Nobody thought it was good because the bloodshed and everything else, the politics of equivalency that happened was not good for the whole country. Imagine we just finish barring these men and then we go and another thing happens. Imagine the headline coming out of Tamale Central again is about such violence. The nation deserves a rest. The nation deserves a amount of peace. And the NPP is saying that if we have anything to do with it, this is our contribution to ensuring that the country can move on, to ensuring that the families of this fine, young, honorable man can move in peace without waking up to see that they are fighting over his seat and probably violence is emanating from him. He wasn't a man of violence, and NPP is saying that we are not going to part of that.
I see. Doc, there's no denying that this gesture by the NPP is not only one good for the books, it's good for the optics of it. It's a kind gesture, so to speak. If you were to advise the NDC, as far as Akwetia is also concerned, what would you say to them?
My advice to them is that the NDC should make a decision that is in their best interest. What is in their best interest and what is in the nation's interest? I think that is what I would advise them. Now, because they are smaller fish to fry, they are bigger fish. Winning Akwetia, winning Tamale Central are smaller fish for each of the political parties because they are inconsequential. They are smaller fish, but they are bigger fish. You can quote Honorable Sodiedu. So the Edu came out to say that if we want to let this people's death not be in vain, we should win Galamsey. So set your eyes for bigger things. Look, take bigger fights. Not bigger fights and win them. Come out and say that, look, whatever it is we are resetting, we are going to put a 1 year complete ban on secret mining. We are going to ban all gold mining for 1 year. And during that period, we are going to claim our land. We are going to make sure that these men do not die in vain. That is how you do. Those are bigger fights. Those are better fights. Those are normal fights. Winning by elections are normal. Political parties do all the time. But putting your national interest above all else is not something political parties do all the time. And so for me, Akwetia is inconsequential.
I see. Doc, we'll leave it here as this breaking news continues to evolve. Thank you so much for talking to us. Dr. Joshua Zato is a political analyst. We've just been discussing that breaking news from the camp of the NPP that the party will not take part in the pending Tamale Central by-election after the death of the NDC MP, Dr. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, in the helicopter crash. Remember that the Tamale Central by-election is the second one we are facing as a result of the first one, which is the Akwetia by-election, also which has come about as a result of the death of the Member of Parliament for that area, Enes Kumi. And the NPP has just released a statement that it will not take part in that election. But we do want to show you what Tamale Central constituency elections have been since 2004. Remember when I inquired from Dr. Joshua Zato that the MPP, couldn't have won that seat anyway. His response was very clear. It's not about winning, it's about testing your strategy. But here's what it's looked like for Tamale Central since 2004. If we could take a look at that right now. I want to show you how the votes have gone since 2004 through to 2008, 2012, all the way to 2020. Remember, the latest election is the 2024 election, which was won by Dr. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed. The NPP has yet to win that seat. It's one of the seats considered safe for the NDC. That notwithstanding, we see that the vote margins continue to close over the years, which is why you can understand why Dr. Zato will say that it's also about testing strategy of the party. So there you have it. The MPP will not take part in the Tamale Central by-election. We are yet to know whether or not this will be a gesture that will be reciprocated by the NDC, whether or not the NDC will reciprocate the NPP's gesture of not taking part in the Tamale Central constituency election. And I explained the dynamics of it already, that in the Akwetia case, the seat is held by the NPP. In the Tamale Central case, is held by the NDC. What you see on your screen now is the voter movement as far as Tamale Central constituency is concerned. You see 2008, very wide margin, 55.8% for the NDC, which is the green line, 38.6% for the NPP, which is the blue line. We see that widened even further in 2008, 66.1% for the NDC, 31.7% for the NPP. Obviously, the NPP lost a bit more to the NDC in that 2008 election. We see the trend continue in 2012, despite the slight improvement by the NPP. They improve even further in 2016, and then even further in 2020. So there you have it. It is a safe seat for the NDC, but there's no denying that the NPP has also done a lot of groundwork and improved its numbers over the years. So that's just the breaking news coming in. The NPP will not take part in the Tamale Central by-election. We'll continue to follow the story in subsequent broadcasts. You want to stay with us for that on News 360 or join 392.7 FM right now as Alfredo Kanse discusses these issues and more. My name is Kemini Amano. Bye.